Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to do the basic things in a game called World of Tanks. If you've never played World of Tanks before, it is a arena kind of game. It's a bit its own kind of class of game. It has shooter aspects, but it's in third person, first person-esque format. Today I'm going to show you the tanks, and then I'm going to show you the tech trees. Let's start off with the tanks. We'll start with lights. Then I'll show you a bit about mediums, heavies, and tank destroyers. There is also artillery, but I'm not going to be showing anything on the class of artillery. Okay, so let's start off with the American tech tree right now. The American tech tree is, it's your all-around tank. It has a lot of, different types of tanks. Then there's the Russians. The Russian tanks are heavy armored, they're slower, have worse accuracy, but they can take more hits. German tanks have higher accuracy and fairly good armor, but are just more of an all-around tank with better accuracy. British tanks have fast-firing guns. They have some with decent armoring, some without, and they're usually slower. French tanks have good guns and they have decent tanks, but there is a few drawbacks like aiming, circles, and stuff like that. Japanese tanks have great gun depression but very low armor, and they're very they should be faster, but they're not as fast as you would think they are for the light armor. Let's take a look at light tanks. In this replay, I'm playing in the T2 Light. It is an American light tank. Light tanks are very fast and they have not a lot of armor, and they usually have poor weaponry on them. A light tank's job is to scout out the enemies. Scout out the enemy positions, keep them spotted, so your friendly tanks, like your tank destroyers and artillery, can hit and take out the enemy, larger targets that you wouldn't be able to with a light tank. So here, we're on Prokhorovka. I'm going up to the front, and I'm staying on this line and just spotting the enemies so others can hit them. Another great thing about light tank is, since usually they have auto-loaders and flat cannons, you can track targets easier. And tracking a target is when you hit their tracks, hit them right in the tracks, and it'll knock off the tracks of an enemy tank. There are lots of different kinds of light tanks. Some light tanks have heavier armor and a bit slower, so they're more of a rugged scout and don't need cover or to be hidden. But they can still scout just as well. Now, another great thing about light tanks is you can use their mobility and speed to get around other enemy tanks, like a medium, and take them out. They are especially effective against artillery and tank destroyers. So here I'm just driving around, keeping people spotted, trying to stay alive. The American tanks are this is like what a general American tank was like, I'd say. It has, all around guns, all around everything. Just a Joe average tank. Ooh. One thing about a light tank that's very fast is you want to keep moving. Make yourself harder to hit. This is one strategy for spotting. Another is to hide it in bushes or something. Here, I'm in a Japanese light tank, and I'm spotting on top of this hill. Since the Japanese tanks have such great gun depression, I'm able to use that to my advantage up here, and keep the enemy spotted and take out this tank destroyer back here. As you can see, light tanks do not have a lot of health, as I took 2 hits and I'm already down to a third of my health. Medium tanks. In this replay, I'm playing the Panzer IV, and I am in a group of light tanks. There are also panzers. One thing you want to do when you're in medium tanks is you want to you want to stay in groups, because when you're in a group, it's harder to for a heavy tank, say, or a larger medium, to pick its targets and hit the right ones. You can also flank easier when you're in a medium tank. Medium tanks are like the all-around class of tank. They usually use the speed and maneuverability to get around heavier tanks and take them out. See, as you can see, since we're in a pack, I'm hitting this Churchill on the sides because he's facing the other way. But as soon as I see him look at me, I try to back up and not get hit, because you don't want to get hit in a medium tank, because they usually do not have a lot of armor. Another thing is the German tanks, they have that great accuracy, as you saw. Just the ability to hit weak spots like the turret ring and hit the side and back of the tank. This is very helpful when you're trying to face a target head on, because there is often spots on the tank that are weaker and it's harder to hit when you have less accuracy. So that's something you should also consider. Here we're going to be taking out this KV-1. Working in groups is very effective. Here I'm in the Matilda, a British medium tank. The Matilda has great armor, but it's a lot slower than the Panzer IV. I see my light tank has been taken out, and I quickly come to catch the other medium off guard. This is a Japanese medium, and they have very low armor, as you can see. Also, what you will notice is the British tanks, rapid firing speed, but they also do very low damage on each hit. Now, I have two targets attacking me, and I notice that this guy has lost his nerve to come in and flank me, so I try to track him in case he changes his mind, but then I realize that the light tank is actually doing more damage, so I should try and take him out and use this body as cover for my right side from that medium tank up there. The medium comes back out, finish him off. Another medium shows up. I need to take out that light because he's doing the most damage to me. He's got the gun that can penetrate me. I track the medium over there to keep it from getting away so I can kill it. Also, then that light comes back out and I get him as well. That's a great thing about the British mediums, is they do have that high fire rate, so you can take out multiple targets at once. But you want to try and segregate each one. Let's look at heavies now. Heavy tanks are your main right in the battle, taking all the hits kind of a tank. They are the tank that you would play if you just wanted to get into the game and do some damage. I'm in the Churchill 1, a British heavy tank. Heavy tanks are usually slower and better armored and have actually pretty good guns on them. They are like the main fighting force and what distracts the enemy tanks, so your tank destroyers and artillery can hit those harder targets and hit the enemy heavy tanks. As you can see, the aiming reticle, and when it is red, that means it is going to penetrate. It sometimes lies about that when the armor is tilted towards you. So I wouldn't trust it 100%. But when it is orange, that means the shot may bounce completely. It's completely generated. Here, I'm trying to track the enemy heavy tank, but I don't get to track him. I notice there's another enemy heavy tank. It's also an American heavy over there. So here, I see that his armor is tilted to me. He's turning. So I try and hit him right in that nice flat spot onto me. This is very important when you want to penetrate an enemy tank. You want to hit it so it's directly 90 degrees to where your shot is landing. Also, though heavies have a lot of armor and health, you want to try and be careful when pushing up, because they're a big target and they take a lot of hits. So you can lose them pretty easily, like I do here. Let's take a look at tank destroyers now. Tank destroyers are like your sniper-esque kind of tank. They like to sit at the back of the map and take shots at enemy tanks from afar. One big thing about tank destroyers is most of them at least, are non-turreted, so you have to turn the tank to shoot. But they do have very powerful weapons that do a lot of alpha damage, which is the initial damage given on one shot. But when you're in a tank destroyer, you don't want to be pushing up ahead of your team, or else you will probably get flanked, and the sides and rear of tank destroyers are not very well armored at all. Usually the fronts are pretty well armored though. This is a German tank destroyer, the Jagdtiger. You can see that the aiming reticle is very small for German tanks because of their higher accuracy. One thing you'll notice about tank destroyers is they are very slow moving. They do not have high top speeds most of the time, unless you are playing the American tank destroyers. But even at higher tier in the American line, they are slower. As you can see, I hit him in the side of the turret, because that is probably the weakest part of his armor, since the front of his armor was facing towards me. I try to see if my team spots him again, but it doesn't seem like they will, so I decide to push up. Because it looks like we need help in the city. There's 3 heavies against 1. Now the Jagdtiger has a very good armor for a tank destroyer. And oh, that IS-8's tracked. Now the best spot to hit a Russian tank is in just beside the wheel well, right there, because that is their weakest part of their armor, and it can also track the target as well. I get hit from the side here, probably from that medium I tried to kill earlier, and the IS-8's gone, the Russian tank. If you're up against a German tank, you definitely want to hit the lower plate, which is just below right in between the tracks on the lower side, like the belly pan of the tank. Same for most American tanks. For British tanks, they usually have large commander's hatches, which are on the top of the tank, on the turret. Those are a great place to hit British tanks, because they're a large weak spot on British tanks. Also the lower plate of British tanks. Now I get tracked here, and I'm scared that KV-4 can hit me, so I pull back. I use my repair kit and pull back. I see that light tank on that ridge, and I try to hit him. Try to see where he went. I see that this guy wants help again, so I come around. And try to hit the KV-4. Bounce a shot from that light tank. Don't bounce the second one. And turn back around because I'm taking damage from him. Whoop, and then I just missed that light tank. See, that light tank is keeping me spotted for all the other enemy tanks. So now I am a larger target, and there is a tank destroyer sneaking around the back, so I'm worried about that. But my friend looks like he has that KV-4 taken care of. So I decide to push up and look for this light tank that was shooting me. Now I can't find him, but I notice I'm spotted, so I try to pull back. I don't know where I'm spotted from. I see it was that tank destroyer that snuck around. Now he's attacking my friend, so I'm about to turn around and go and help him, when all of a sudden an object for 704 comes to attack me. So I try and hit him in the lower plate, because the lower plate of the Object 704 is not as well defended, and he rams me and takes out my engine and blows off my tracks. So I'm basically screwed here, because he's got a lot more health than me, and I get killed. Yeah, so that's tank destroyers. Yeah, you can do a lot of things. There's also artillery, of course, and those usually sit at the back of the map and like to help out. Anyways, I'll do a video on artillery later. Thanks for watching.